Well, this weapon is legendary also here, who just completed 4-1. Well, this weapon is slightly better technically if you look at it, slightly better than what I'm about to show you. But the thing I'm about to show you is so much cheaper than this, which it pretty much renders this Bonzo staff irrelevant. That weapon is the epic rarity Dreadlord sword. Now, the Dreadlord sword has to be epic rarity. Rare, unless you're an extremely early game mage, is not worth it. I'm just going to show you comparing the two. My Bonzo staff is 5-star frag, ultimate Y3, so basic enchantment. And it has the ability, basically the ability, to shoot garbage that creates a large explosion, dealing X amount of damage depending on how much intelligence you have. The base damage is 1000 with intelligence scaling at 0.2. If you don't know what that means, look it up on the wiki. It takes too long to explain here. The Dreadlord sword only has a base damage of 750, however, it has an intelligence scaling of 0.3, making it better if you have enough intelligence. You do need a lot of intelligence for this to be better, but it is something. It's more so how cheap this is. Now, the rest of my set, just for testing, this is just, I didn't have a mage set on hand, so I just got like a cheap mage set. I doubt you'll be able to get this, but shadow goggles are very helpful. I know by the time you unlock them, you're going to graduate to something like a Spirit Scepter, but I'm just doing it just for demonstration. You can very easily just slap on dark goggles and it'll only be slightly worse. Now, I also have 3/4 Legendary Zombie Soldier, Reforged to Necrotic. The chest plate's 5-star, the rest is 4-star, not quite max, but it will serve for this purpose. You can easily, once you reach Catacombs level 9, just slap on an epic set for very cheap. Or, if you do have a little more money, get Legendary. And store it up as much as you can. Again, if you're on a very tight budget, you can put on Wide, but I'd recommend Necrotic. Now, my pet is a level 81 sheep. It's not quite math, but it is relatively high level with a textbook, which is the most important part. I'd recommend if you're going to do Mage, if you have enough money, get at least an epic sheep, although I'd recommend Legendary. And if you cannot afford even an epic sheep, then Guardian is probably your next best. Get a common Guardian as high level as you can. Mine's at rare level 96. I'm currently leveling this up through the experimentation table. Now, I'm going to show you the prices to get a clean Bonzo staff. 2,180,000. This has nothing on it. Not stars, not frags, no enchantments, no ultimate wide, nothing. Just a base weapon. Okay, there's a 5-star ultimate Y3 one. It has a hot potato book, but otherwise it's basically the same. 2.5 mil. Not the most expensive, but relatively expensive. However, Epic Dreadlord, I don't know if there's any at the price I found. Okay, yeah, all the ones that are a decent price are out. But, don't worry. I know, even at 150, 200k, it's still so much of a better deal than this. Let me show you one more time. Yeah, okay, there's one that just got put up for 112k. 5 stars. Now, it's honestly technically all worth, but 112k is so much better than 2.5 million. And by the way, these are actually terrible prices. Usually they're actually around 50k for a clean one. And unlike the Bonzo staff, don't worry if your Epic Dreadlord sword clean. It's very cheap to upgrade. I'll show you in a minute. Bonzo staff, now, it's one of the cheaper items to upgrade with Wither Essence. But for early game, it could still be a decent fit. Because compare it with the Jerry Sheen gun, which is kind of its rival, and it costs exactly the same. Dreadlord sword. Now, obviously this one's rare, not epic, but the cost to upgrade's the same. One starring it costs just 10 essence, then 15, 20, 25, and 30. In total, This only requires 100 undead essence to upgrade, which is less than 190 wither essence that the Bonzo staff requires, and undead essence is incredibly easy to come by. So don't worry if you get one clean, you'll be able to 5-star very quickly, even in the early game. I'm going to get the end. Okay, here's Bonzo staff. 18k. Just straight 18k. Now, Dreadlord. Dreadlord deals a little less, 14k compared to 18k. But again, and if you're in the early game, dealing only 4k less, or getting a weapon that's usually a 40th of the price, it's so much better. I'm going to show you stuff you can get instead if you do have more money. Legendary Machine Gun is a little more, 3.6 mil, but it is better by a lot. Is it as good as Spirit Scepter? No, but it is a lot better. There's also Frozen Sight for people who have a little more than that. Clean one for 7 mil. Max one, not dungeon converted, but otherwise max 7 mil. You can get a 5-star one for 7.3. Now imagine, yeah, 7.5 mil for a maxed out 5-star ultimate Y5 one. And if you have even more, and you have floor 4 completion, then Spirit Scepter is going to far outclass it. Clean, it already deals more. Clean. You can obtain a max 1. Okay. 5-star ultimate Y5. Okay, there it is. 11.6 mil. Definitely a lot more than 2.5 mil. But the thing is, it is also so much better to the point where it's warranted. Dreadlord Sword, it deals a little less, but still going to be relevant in dungeons up to around floor 3, floor 4. I tried it on floor 3 with a decent team, you'll make it. And I know a lot of people say you need Bonzo staff for floor 3. You don't. You just need a decent Catacombs level. If you want to cheat at a low Catacombs level, then yes, Bonzo staff helps. But if you're trying to get a high Catacombs level, Dreadlord's better. Okay. I'm gonna do a floor 1 dungeon run. Okay. 42k. I know it's trash, but again, this is just a basic setup. Okay. Yeah. 64k that time. Darren seems to vary a little bit, but that dealt more for some reason. I have 37. 75, 37, 52. Damage varies a lot more, but sometimes dealing more, sometimes dealing a lot less. 67. Well, that deals 92k, a little more. The thing is, you really think that little bit of an increase is worth that much more money when this deals only a little less and it's so much cheaper? Only caveat to the Epic Dreadlord Sword, it does require a Catacombs level 5, while the Bonzo staff only requires floor 1 completion. However, I wouldn't recommend going with Mage unless you're at least Catacombs level 5 already, since there's not really much for you until Catacombs level 5. So I'd say, if you want to be Mage in dungeons, just stick with Berserker, Tank, anything else, even Healer, or Archer. Doesn't matter. Just do something until Catacombs level 5, and then you can switch to Mage and get a Dreadlord sword. And even in good, decent gear, like Zombie Soldier, relatively overpowered for floor 1, from Cata 16 and everything, you're still gonna take a decent bit of damage. However, but the point, if you stay back, you will do very good, even with the Epic Dreadlord. And might be, no, that's not worth it. Probably gonna go for the free one. Yeah, I'm gonna go for the free one. Combo's not very good. It's not gonna sell for very much. So I'm just gonna go for free one. Dreadlord sword isn't that much worse, and even it can still serve a purpose as like a cheap weapon in terms of its cheap mana cost. And the pros and cons of each, in the end, I know it's a lot to swallow during this video, so I'm just going to give a quick rundown of the pros and cons of each. The pros of choosing Bonzo Staff over Dreadlord is it does have a little bit better crowd control and its damage is a little better, unless you have an extremely high intelligence build. Dreadlord, however, if you do have that extremely high intelligence build, like over 6,000, will deal more damage. And as well as that, you can also get higher quality ones the higher cata level you are, unlike the Bonzo Staff. It has better left-click ability. It's cheaper to both buy and use, as it only costs 40 mana without Ultimate Wide, compared to 100 with no Ultimate Wide on here. If you had pretend this has Ultimate Wide 5, it costs 50. If you put Ultimate Wide 5 on this, it only costs 20 mana. So overall, it's technically a little worse, but it's far better value. Don't be afraid that you'll a little less damage in a dungeon. And you'll enjoy so much of your savings that if you were to spend that amount you saved on other gear, you would be a better mage with this and better armor, better stat and all that. Than this with everything else being worse. So again, I'm not making this video to just say Bonzo Staff is trash or anything like that. Bonzo Staff has its use. However, if you're in the early game and you're on a tight budget, the Epic Dreadlord sword just is so much better. Or it's only a little worse, but you're saving so much that the other stuff you could get will make you do better. Same with Bonzo Staff. Again, don't expect the deal much damage that I did unless you're later in the game. If you're in decent gear, you'll probably do more in Mage if you have a higher level sheet with better dungeon gear, armor and stuff. However, this was just cobbled together for cheap, just to prove a point, not to be my main step. I'm gonna apologize if you just got a Bonzo Staff, you see this video, you check them, you bought your Bonzo Staff at 2.5 mil and now they're 500k, and I'm sorry if you want to get an Epic Dreadlord sword to save money, and Epic Dreadlord swords end up being 500k as well, for being much more expensive than they were before, which is, even in a trash market, still really good, 200k, but usually you can snatch one for 50k. I even saw them as low as 30k. The only thing you have to watch out for would be Dreadlord swords. Make sure you don't get a rare one that's been recommed to Epic. People do that, even though it costs so much. Oh yes, the market already has a ton of them for very cheap. I already have a bunch, like 3 of them, so you can snatch right now for 25k. It's even. In the end, and again, it's cheap to start up. Don't worry if you get one with no stars. You can start up cheap. Reforge it. If you're gonna do right-click mage heroic, if you're doing left-click mage, reforge it to legendary, as it will be better for left-clicking situations. But in the end, Bonzo Staff has its uses, but if you're early game, I'd recommend Dreadlord sword. You'll be saving so much. Overall. See you in the next one.